We've got our new Corvette Z06 in the garage, so it's time to get with tuning. Let's start with the MPP exhaust. Stick around. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the garage. And if you missed the most recent live show, yes, we went ahead and got rid of the Shelby and got a Z06. Oh, love this car. Every aspect of it. But that's neither here nor there. We are going to be doing all kinds of modifications on this, from stock all the way up to wild over, who knows, the next months, year or two. We're going to take this thing to the limit and then some. And I thought, what better place to start than the dual mode exhaust on these things? I like the dual mode exhaust for whenever you're in touring mode to keep things kind of quiet and things like that. But even whenever we're in sport mode, it doesn't open up until a certain point, but we can edit all of those switch points on HP tuners. So let's go ahead. I'm going to fire it up real quick so you can see what it's going to sound like normally. And you can even adjust the startup flare where it fires up with the exhaust open and then closes. So that's all things that we'll look at. Let's hit this. Has the burble at the first and then it quiets down pretty quick. There we go. Now we're in tour mode. You can see exactly how quiet it is. So let's take a look at all these settings. Okay, I've got the tune pulled up here. Let's take a look. We're underneath the system general tab and we have the active exhaust stuff. And so we have literally whether or not you want to turn the system on and off is standard enable. If you disable, it's going to run in quiet mode all the time. And then we have valve enabled. Valve state, default valve state is open, and then our exhaust performance mode source is performance. You can actually change that over to vehicle stability, which is very interesting. What if you get sideways, it opens up? Who knows? But the big one that we're looking at is the exhaust valve RPM thresholds, and you can see here, based on the different modes, it's going to determine how soon the valves open up. And we can look at like mode 1 and 2 and see that the numbers are really low, so that's going to be like in sport or track mode, whereas where the numbers are a little bit higher, these are going to be your touring modes. So you can see even out here that we have it set up like this threshold number is going to be based on things like RPM and throttle acceleration, you know, pedal input and things like that. So what we're looking for is a performance mode that, like when we're in sport, it's always open. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to open these valves up at 700 RPMs. Actually, let's just take it down to 600. So we'll always be open. And I'm going to leave the touring stuff exactly the same. Now, as far as when the valve closes, we're going to look at the same modes. So we're on 1, 2, and 5. So for those, we're going to drop these down to 500 so the valves never close. And we should be good to go there. And that should, whenever we're in sport mode, just keep us in noisy exhaust mode all the time. So exhaust road mode, rumble mode enabled is going to be probably the startup mode, I believe. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So table determines if the exhaust mode has the startup rumble option enabled. So we can see that modes 2 and 3 have it enabled. 0, 1, and 4 do not. And the thing about it is we could go through and log on the data logger the mode that we're in, and as we toggle through from touring to sport to track to get those modes down. But by looking at these, we get a decent idea of like, okay, 2 is probably sport mode, you know, and that's the one that we're going to want to focus on. And then here's our open and close percentages, which very interesting. We might want to play around with these so we can open these up more, but like here we go. It looks almost like 100 is 100% close. Close percentage 100, open percentage should be, they match. That's very interesting. Oh, these are accelerator pedal positions. Threshold to open and close the valve. So this ties back to your accelerator position. As you can see in here, that the accelerator position has to be basically -1. So we're going to do the same thing that we did on our RPM thresholds. We're looking at 1, 2, and 5. So for 1, we're going to -1 everything except for 8 gear. No, I want -1. There we go. And I'm going to leave 8th gear the same way because even if I'm on the highway cruising in 8th gear, I don't want this thing necessarily in loud mode because I'll always kick it down into 7th. So we'll do the same thing here. Put 1 in, and then we'll just negative it. And neutral. That's very interesting why neutral would be that way, but we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for the neutral. And that was in performance mode 1. Performance mode 2 is probably the one that's more important than anything, and you can see in performance mode 2 here, it's basically already set that way, except for here. Let's go ahead and do it here. And then 5, same way. Really weird that there's just a random 100 in here. So let's just go ahead and put that down to -1. And bingo. Okay, we should be good to go now. I'm going to save this, we're going to load it up, and we're going to test it out. So let's go ahead and save this as Z06 MPP tune. Okay, I'm going to load this thing in. Let's see what it does. Okay, now that we've got the tune written in, let's go ahead and try it. We'll fire it up and cycle through the modes and see how it does. So we're in touring mode, so we're quiet right now. Of course, we go over to sport. It opens right up, as expected. Let's take it back over to touring mode. Quiets down. But as soon as we give it any throttle, it opens up now on touring. And then it goes right back closed. So actually it takes about 30% throttle. Woo! That thing sounds mean. So this is just one of the many cool things that you can do with the HP Tuners platform. Why go out and spend $300–400 for an MPP controller where you have to hit a button to open and close it? You can literally go in and set your own parameters whenever you have a dual mode exhaust. That's just one of the multiple features. So if you're interested in getting into this stuff and you're not already doing HP Tuners, make sure and check out the link down below. Use my code down there. Get yourself a free t-shirt and free shipping whenever you pick up the MPVI 2 Plus, which we're using to tune the Z06. We're going to be diving into some more features on both the Z06 and the 2 Plus programming module, and I've got the new ProLink Plus in, so we're going to check that out real soon also. But keep your eyes peeled because there's going to be a lot of parts showing up here real quick. We're going to start doing small things like bolt-ons. We're going to go out and take the Dragy out and get some performance metrics before and after. We're going to go through the tuning process. We'll do a stock versus a stock tune versus a tuned stock vehicle, see what all we can pick up there, and maybe look at some things like some transmission shifting. But I'll be honest, this transmission in sport mode is already very aggressive. So they've got this new 8-speed dialed in. I know there's a lot of complaints out there about it, but I've been happy with it so far. So I'm going to get back to it. You guys know the drill. Thanks for stopping by the garage. Remember, ABT, always be tuning.